I came home from learning how to do EMF balancing technique, and I had to redo all the material because it didn't work for me. I, I needed to make it organized so that it made it easier for me to work with. So I started doing work in a geodesic dome in the big room in the middle of the home that I was living, and the energy went flying around. My friends who came to visit me, I would work on them, and they enjoyed it, and they felt the energy, and I enjoyed doing it. And then I went and became certified as a teacher as well, and created wonderful wonderful instructional material to help other people know how to do the work. And the founder of the thing, the healing modality, Peggy Phoenix DeBro, liked what I had done. And then they decided to charge more money to be certified for those of us that were already certified. So I didn't like the idea that they needed to make more money after they'd already trained us. So I went on and stopped doing that work. And I discovered healthy chocolate in the middle of all this, Shisai healthy chocolate. And I I had had the experience until Dr. Libby worked on me that I was allergic to chocolate and dairy, and she cleared that. So having a dark chocolate that I really enjoyed made my life so much better. I've been eating it for 10 years as of this year. Anyway, it's been wonderful. But when I went up to a conference up in Reno, I ran into a young woman who told me about the Emotion Code book by Bradley Nelson. And I went through it all and cleared a whole bunch of emotion codes. Sort of took me down for a day, but I did it all at once. I did it, and then I actually went and bought his body code system as well. And it helped me identify one issue, but it really didn't clear it totally. So I was still in this place of frustration that I had a cough that wouldn't go away, knees that still hurt, and I just wanted to feel better. So I finally, I'm not sure how I got the book, but I read Raymond Grace's book, The Future Is Yours, Do Something About It. And I felt like I'd come home. I'd been using a pendulum since the 70s, or the 80s for sure. And I had actually had a dark night because I used it improperly, because I had not asked permission for doing whatever I did. So I knew the pros and cons of using a pendulum. I was not aware that you could do healing work with it. So I was really delighted. I again was frustrated at Raymond Grace and his lack of information details in his book. So I started writing down questions that I needed to ask in the healing modality of what I ended up creating something totally different, but it sort of started with putting everything that I learned into one place, and it was really fun. So that's how I created Ask and Let God, starting with a whole bunch of questions. It was mainly from Raymond Grace's book. It was interesting that the first miracle that I experienced using it involved a friend's brother-in-law who lives in Pennsylvania, and this man had gone into the hospital with a blood sugar of 1500, and he was diagnosed with ketoacidosis. And I just kept, I mean, it was amazing that I cleared 832 beliefs, emotions, and whatever, and it took several hours for the pendulum to stop moving. I do it less complicated now, and then I worked on his pancreas because I knew the pancreas was involved with diabetes, and his potassium level was high or low, and I worked on that. And at one point, out of the blue, I said, without it, from spirit, obviously, he's going to go home. He was sent to another hospital in Pittsburgh, and the prognosis for him was he would not survive, that he would have, his brain would be fried, he would never He would never get out of the hospital was the initial diagnosis. And so after he went to Pittsburgh, he was there, and I went, he's going to come home on Monday, and that's Saturday. And I said that on Thursday, and on Saturday the nurse said, and you can probably go home on Monday. And he did, and he's surviving with diabetes that he didn't know he had at the time, and he still is doing well. So that was the first tangible proof that the work I do is helpful.